Welcome back to another video on Simple Manufacturing's features and functionality. In this video, we will be discussing the inspection and non-conforming material. In any manufacturing business, there will always be some level of inspection and, unfortunately, some non-conforming or defective material. The purpose of the inspection and non-conforming material module in Simple Manufacturing is to define and record completed inspections, and when non-conforming material exists, use the processing features and functionality in Simple Manufacturing to quickly and efficiently dispose of the material. Let's go over some typical inspection types in manufacturing. First is incoming or receiving inspections. At a minimum, all businesses should verify that they have received the goods and materials they ordered. A good practice is to verify that the goods and quantities received match the packing list and purchase order. Next is WIP or work-in-process inspections. Establishing inspection points along the manufacturing process is good practice to catch any issues or nonconformities as early as possible. Another popular inspection is first article inspections. This is a common request by customers and, in general, a good practice to ensure that the first article manufactured meets the requirements. Lastly, final inspections, which as the name implies, are completed as the last step in manufacturing, typically before shipment or when items are added back into inventory to be used in a higher-level assembly. Now let's dive into the inspection and non-conforming material module in Simple Manufacturing. First, we will discuss incoming or receiving inspections. When purchase orders are created in Simple Manufacturing, the item or part ordered has already been added to the Simple Manufacturing item or part master module. Looking at a specific item PN 29-002-01 in the item master, one attribute is product classification, which defines the part as a make, phantom, or buy part. In this case, it's marked as a buy part. Another attribute is to identify that an incoming inspection is required at the time of receipt. An item checked off with incoming inspection required adds this requirement to the purchase order line item, as shown here, with the option to change it at the PO line item level. When a purchase order receipt is performed on a part that has been identified as needing incoming inspection, an incoming inspection record is automatically created. Let's take a look at one that has been created. First, reviewing the item master, part number 28-00002-01 indicates that an incoming inspection is required. Due to this requirement, the purchase order for the same part number will automatically include this requirement when one is created for this item, as shown in this purchase order. After completing the PO receipt process, the incoming inspection was automatically created as shown here. All information received about the product has been added to this record. PO line item, supplier, part number, quantity received, and the supplier's information and approver status as well. At this point, the only information that the inspectors will be required to complete is adding the quantity inspected and quantity accepted fields. If any product is rejected, the quantity rejected is entered, and that automatically initiates the non-conforming process. The method of inspection for these parts is unknown. One inspector may inspect the product one way, while another may inspect it differently. That unknown and possible inconsistency leads us to discuss another option available in Simple Manufacturing, namely the use of control plans. The principle of control plans is to identify precisely what is to be inspected, how it is to be inspected, and to provide minimum and maximum values in the case of measuring product attributes. In addition, in many cases, the same item can be purchased from multiple suppliers. The control plan features a provision to establish sample tier requirements for each supplier. Depending on the historical PO receipts, suppliers can be set anywhere from a doc to stock to 100% inspection required. The control plan ensures a consistency of inspection with each receipt. Simple Manufacturing makes it easy to create a basic control plan for every purchased item by using control plan defaults. Here is an example of control plan defaults. These include a basic level of inspection every business should verify. 1. Verify the supplier or vendor is on the approved suppliers list. 2. Product received matches the supplier's packing list and the purchase order. 3. the quantity delivered matches the packing list and is reviewed against the balance on the purchase order. And 4, that the product was received in good condition. Once control plan defaults are added, each purchased item requiring an incoming inspection automatically has one created for it and is shown here. Now, for a demonstration of how a control plan works. This incoming inspection record was just created from a PO receipt of this part number. A lot inspection record was created from the item's control plan. The inspector completes each line item. If passed, then select Accept. For this line item, the inspector must record the actual measurements of the units inspected. Notice that each entry is compared to the upper nominal and lower limits, with an immediate determination of whether the measurement recorded is pass or fail. Once all units have been measured, the lot inspection will provide a summary. Once all inspection points have been checked off and all details have passed, click Accept Lot. This inspection is now complete, and the product can be transferred to a stock location. Another unique feature of Simple Manufacturing is that all measuring devices used during this inspection can be added. This is beneficial in the calibration management process. If a measuring device's condition is identified as out of tolerance, then the business must identify all inspections that use that device since its last known calibration status and determine the impact that utilizing an out-of-tolerance device would have on that inspection result. Identifying those inspections is a single click away when using Simple Manufacturing. Another feature is to add an unlimited number of files to the inspection record. CFCs, material test records, foundry details, test reports, and even packing lists can be added. Additionally, pictures of damaged goods, damaged packaging, or red line drawings can be included for non-conforming or defective products. Now let's look at the non-conforming material process included in Simple Manufacturing. We will demonstrate it using the same incoming inspection, but this time we will reject a specific quantity. In this example, we received 15 units of a 1.5 inches PVC-T. However, during the last inspection point, where we compared the size of this unit with the rest of the lot, it was discovered that 4 pieces were a 1.25 inches PVC-T. So, for that inspection detail, we reject the inspection and then add the number of rejected items. Enter the rejected quantity, and it will automatically update the balance as the accepted quantity. Once all inspection items have been recorded, this particular lot is rejected. This closes the lot inspection process and, in this specific case, initiates the non-conforming material process for the 4 units rejected. The 11 units are added to inventory. Once a non-conformance is created, the Material Review Board, MRB, is automatically added based on the default list of MRB team members, which is managed through the Employee module. In the non-conformance defect, codes can be added. Grouping defects by defect category or code helps determine common causes of receiving inspection defects through Pareto charts. Defect codes are managed through the global settings, and a separate set of defect codes can be created for different inspection processes. Those processes are receiving inspection, WIP or in-process inspection, final inspection, random audits, and RMAs. Or one set of defect codes can be used for all inspection types. Just a simple click prepares an email to inform the MRB team members of the non-conformance, requesting a disposition of the material. When a disposition is required, is displayed on the MRB team members' to-do list. A single click of the non-conformance opens the non-conformance record for review and evaluation. Once the determination of how the material is to be processed or dispositioned, the details are added into the disposition record. Common options for disposition include return to vendor, use as is, scrap, rework, and reclassify to different part number. Instructions are available to communicate what is to be completed. When businesses require it, disposition approvals can be added with the permission set in the employee record. When used, once the disposition has been identified, the request is displayed in each of the MRB approvers' to-do list. In the case of a return to vendor, the buyer, the vendor's RMA number, the date the product was sent, and the date the replacements arrived should be updated accordingly to facilitate progress towards closure. In this case, Once the disposition is approved using the approval password process, the buyer is notified to return the non-conforming units through an automated email, as shown here with all of the details of the non-conformance in the body of the email along with the files linked to the non-conformance record. The email is displayed so the approver can edit before sending. In addition, the buyer's to-do list displays the NCMRs that need to be returned, as shown here. A single click from here opens the non-conformance record for review. Once sent out and the sent out date in the disposition record has been updated, the buyer's to-do list will display that the NCMR is at the supplier awaiting the replacements. Once the replacement material is received and the return from supplier date has been updated, the MRB team member's to-do list will display that the RTV material has returned from the supplier and is ready for reinspection to verify conformity. Single click opens the non-conformity record. Upon completion of the disposition and verification that the material now conforms and the stocking options are verified, the non-conforming material record can be closed and the material will be added to an inventory account and available for issue into a work order or shipment, and the NCMR dropped off the to-do list. Some additional features are available in this NCMR process, and one of these is the use of action items. Action items can be added at any time in the process, and that action is assigned to a specific person to execute with a requested due date. After selecting the action, a single click prepares a task email for the actionee, as shown here. This email is displayed so that the sender can make any edits or add additional people to the email before sending. Additionally, after changing to show the actionee's to-do list, those actions display in the actionee's to-do list. Select MRB actions and, with a single click, open the non-conformance record for review. Another convenient and efficient feature is the ability to create a supplier corrective action with a single click. Certain nonconformities found during the receiving inspection may raise questions about the supplier's processes. When it's desired to issue a corrective action to a supplier, click Add CAR. This process creates a new supplier corrective action, adds information from the receiving inspection nonconformance record, and then links the supplier corrective action to this specific nonconformance. The supplier corrective action is displayed for review and editing and can be processed then or at a later date. The corrective action process in SimpleManufacturing is covered in another video. When a nonconformance is complete, any comments can be added, along with the closure date and the person responsible for closing. Once closed, the nonconformance no longer displays in any of the open NCMR reports. Lastly, numerous reports are available. Examples are the open receiving inspections, open non-conforming inspections, defect type Pareto charts, vendor on-time performance, and vendor scorecards. Each report is filterable depending on the user's interests. Lastly, all inspections can be viewed and searched using many of the filters provided. Any combination of filters can be used to narrow down the matching inspections of interest. An example is to filter all incoming or receiving inspections, then add a supplier that narrows down the inspections, and finally add a date range to narrow down the results even further. When a specific inspection is found, simply double-click to view the inspection record. Search by failed, incoming inspections only, and then double-click to open the inspection record. SimpleManufacturing comes with a set of standard reports focused on inspections and nonconformances, including vendor performance reports, scorecards, and cost of poor quality reports. Most reports are filterable only to display the records of interest. I hope this video was successful at demonstrating the features and functionality of SimpleManufacturing's inspection module, specifically the incoming inspection module and the non-conforming material process for any rejected material, goods, or services. See our other videos on the WIP or in-process, final, and RMA inspections. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us. We would love to hear from you. Cheers!